the mantras going forward is that the titles and credentials are virtually meaningless. They're not entirely meaningless, because there's a lot to be said for building credibility. I do a lot of that myself. I'm sure you do too. But as far as getting started, no one cares as much about what your credentials are. They care if you have good quality content. Okay? And then this is another thing that, I get asked about this stuff I do more and more speaking these days, which is great, and I'm excited about it. But I get asked some questions, and they just consistently come up. And in one format or another, people always ask, how can I access a market on the internet? How can I sell to my audience? I mean, just that basic foundational question. Conversations are markets. So if you want to access a market, participate in the conversation. I mean, that's step number one. Actually, no, that's step number two. Find the conversation around that product or around that industry or around that hobby or around that passion. Right? We're going to talk about that a lot today. And then participate in it. And when you participate in that conversation, you're demonstrating your expertise, you're providing value, you're getting known, so all these people who are interested in that know that you exist, and the relationship begins. Okay? And lastly, participation plus facilitation equals leadership. Well, what do I mean by that? Participate in the conversation we've been talking about since we started. And I really think it's at the core, guys. I mean, you've got to participate, right? You really have to. But facilitating is even more powerful. So if you want to access a market, participate in the conversation. If you want to be a leader in the market, facilitate the conversation. Okay? The person who built Facebook, right, this is a very powerful position because they're facilitating the conversation of 200 million people. The person who developed Dig, the person who developed Technorati and all these different websites, the person who developed the Barack Obama website, right, he facilitated the conversation. And because he facilitated the conversation, it put him in a very, very powerful position. So these are the mantras.